I remember being 35. At 35, in fact, by 36, I'd had all my children. So I know how it feels, what I'm going to be discussing with you tonight. So I know how it feels to be 35. So today, I'm going to be sharing with you what the 5 financial moves I'd make if I were starting at 35 today. And then, why 35? Because at 35, you already know that life is not a rehearsal. It's not a rehearsal. I remember when my son was a teenager, he said, "Oh, I wish that we had 2 lives." He said, one to fool around with, and then the other one to, that's the real thing. Breaking news at 35, you know that this is not a dress rehearsal. You are in it. By now, at 35, pressure has teeth. I remember when I was 35, I was married. I'd been married for 5 years. And then in just 1 year, I would have had all my children. So I had tasted disappointment. I knew what it was, what I went through before I could get the job. At 35, I was working with Chevron, So I've also, I had tasted some wins at 35. And then I had also tasted some frustration mixed with hope. And now, if you're 35, you've discovered also something that many people never admit publicly. And that is, you expected to be further by now. If you're 35, and then you feel you should have been further, you should be further in your life than where you are right now, just raise your hand in the comment section. I was there. I was there. You expected that by now that your income would be higher. At 35, I expected I should have had my own house. I didn't. At 35, you expected that your savings should be stable, that life should have stabilized, that your investment should have been visible. Okay, your responsibilities, children, parents, rent, feeding, shouldn't feel like a chokehold. At 35, you expected that. At 35, some of us expected, we would have retired our parents. But how many of you have parents, who are still grinding, even though you're in your 30s, because you are not able to retire your parents? Some of you at 35, you had imagined that by now you should be able to give your parents a trip around the world. You give them a cruise, Caribbean cruise and all that. But at 35, you're still struggling for oxygen. I was there. And the interesting thing, when you were 25, the world told you, you've got time. How many of you felt it in your 20s? Some of you watching who are in your 20s right now, you feel the same way. I've got time. I remember my 20th birthday. I remember being 25. Then I slept, woke up one day, and I was 50. Slept again, woke up, and voila, in 2 weeks' time, I'm going to be 60 years old. So I'm telling you, I've been there. At 35, the world whispers, "Are you sure you are still on track?" And then that whisper can keep your heart awake all night, especially, that feeling that you should have been further than where you found yourself. Okay, so you discover that somehow that your 30s are a financial pressure cooker. That's what my 30s felt like. You're supposed to have it all figured out, but it feels like you are just barely keeping the lead on. That was my experience. In my 30s, the noise was deafening. Okay, there was no crypto in my time, but there were other things. Invest in this, invest in the stock market. So now it's invest in crypto, pay off your debt, max out your 401k, for those of you in the United States, buy property. It was overwhelming for me. So we often do, in our 30s, we often do the one thing that feels safe. in the moment. And what is that one thing? Nothing. Nothing. That ends tonight. For the next couple of minutes, I'm going to help you hit the reset button. So we are cutting through the noise. I'm not going to sell you a magic pill, but I'm going to tell you exactly the 5 moves. Looking back, the 5 moves I would make with clarity and focus if I were sitting where you are at 35. It's such a blessing. I just wish that there was someone who could have talked to me in my 30s, who would have shared what I'm sharing with you in my 30s. I wish somebody would have told me these 5 things, these 5 moves when I was in my 30s. It's not late. I'm just saying that it would have been really very different. And so, you are so blessed sitting where you are today, having somebody who is 25 years older, 30 years older than you, telling you this is exactly what I would have done if I were in your... So here are the 5 moves. Move number 1. I would declare war on my debt. I would declare war on my debt. Yes, good evening, Ebube. Yes. So my first move is declare war on my debt. Everybody type it, war on debt. And if you are joining and you haven't liked this live session, please do so and share it so that others, just tap that share button, share it, and then love it, because it actually helps the algorithm to get people to get to know about it. Hi, Mary is watching from Nairobi, and Bube is watching from Rwanda. Fantastic. Okay, so move number 1. I will declare war on my debt. I had debt in 30s. In fact, some of you who are 30, in your 30s here, can confirm. It's like the 30s are your debt years. That's the time of our lives that we enter into all kinds of debt. Some of them by stupid mistakes, stupid investments, like something they call stupid investments. Some of us, taking credit to buy consumer things. Some of us, going on expensive vacations. Some of us, taking money from the bank to buy car. The 30s are filled with such stupid decisions. Okay, and then we get into debt. So my move number 1 is not going to be about investing. Surprisingly, it's not going to be about investing. My move number 1 is not going to be about saving for a house. It's about declaring war on the single biggest dream killer in your 30s. Do you know what your single biggest dream killer is in your 30s? High interest debt. That's your enemy. That's the enemy you should actually pray that it should fall and die. High interest debt. So, and when I declare freedom, when I declare this war on my debt, I call it building my freedom fund. Do you know why? Do you know why? Ask me why in the comment section, because this is important. Ask me why. Why this is my move number 1. Ask me in the comment section. Ask me why. Why? Yeah. I just need one person to ask me why. Do you know why you need to declare war on your debt in your 30s? I just need one why. Why? Okay. Here is why. Because debt isn't just a number on a screen. Are you listening? It's a tax on your future. Type it in the comment section. Tax on my future. When you look at it that way, your attitude toward debt will change. Debt is a tax on your future. Can you imagine? Your future hasn't even arrived. You're already paying tax on your future. It's the interest you pay on a credit card that could have been money invested. It's the student loan repayment that could have been a contribution to your child's college fund, to your child's education, to your child's school fees. It's a psychological anchor, and it's time to cut the chain. So how am I going to tackle my debt if I'm starting over at 35? Number 1, I will list every single debt I have, whether it's credit card, whether it's loans I took to go to school, student loans in America, whether it is car loan, whether it is personal loans, whether it is consumer loans, whatever, all those things, or whether it is debt I owe friends and family people. I'll make a list of all of them. Next to each of it, I will write the balance and the interest I'm paying on that debt. Very, very important. I actually did this. I didn't do it in my 30s. I wish I did. I actually did this. Okay. So, second, in attacking my debt, I will focus all the extra cash I'm getting on the debt with the highest interest rate. Okay. So, while making minimum payment on the others, it is important to pay off your debt. I can't stress this enough, especially for many of you watching in Africa. We don't take the issue of debt serious. It's very common, and it may have happened to somebody listening here. It's very common for people to come to you, maybe a friend to come to you, and I hope you haven't done it to somebody else. And a friend comes to you and say, "Oh, please, could you give me 20K? I have some urgent situation and I have to, pay this off right now. In fact, my life is in danger. Please give it to me. I'm expecting money in 3 days' time. And then I will give you back the money in 3 days' time." And then you trusted the guy, your neighbor, your friend, your colleague, your church member, and gave him that 20K that he said he was going to pay. He said he was going to pay back in 3 days. It's now 3 years. It's now 3 years. He hasn't paid back. That's how one guy came to me on LinkedIn. "Oh, I should just give him this money." I think it was 50K or something. 2018, 2019. He said, "I know that people have disappointed before, but my word is my bond. I will never disappoint. I keep my word. I'm going to return this money to you." I gave him the 50K. That was 2018. This is 2025. How many years? He didn't pay it back. But it's a spiritual implication on why you should pay back your debt, especially the debts you took from your friends, from your mother, from your brother. And if you took it as debt and said you were going to pay it back. You see, because debt does speak, your debt do speak against you. Your debt do speak against you. And believe me, there are many spiritual reasons, and it has nothing to do with village people or witches and wizards, but something that you did to yourself that's keeping you from making progress financially. But you never connect it. You borrowed money. Somebody trusted you. You asked the person, "Lend me this money, I'll pay you back." You borrowed that money. The person trusted you. And you said you will pay it back in 7 days. Today it's already 7 years. You haven't paid back that money. And because that person has stopped bothering you and just let it go, you think you're free. No, you are not. Make a list of your debt and pay your debt. It's important to pay off debt. Okay? So, your goal is to eradicate any debt with interest rate that's 10%, 20%. In fact, in this part of the world, we have debt, we have loans or debts that run 30%. In Ghana, I think it should be something like 35%. So it's crazy. And because that's roughly the long-term average return on the stock market, for instance. So if you have debt at 18%, for instance, paying it off is like guaranteed 18% return, okay, which you won't find anywhere. So this move isn't very pretty. Paying off debt isn't very pretty. It's not. Paying off my debt took years. It took years. It took ages. But I did. You see, there's something that happens when you pay off your debt. You have a sense of freedom. It's like some heavy load has been lifted off your chest that allows you to begin your financial journey from a place of peace. not a place of offense. Because if you took money from your friend or took money from even a financial institution and refused to pay back, then you have offense. All your money-making effort will have offense, will have a question mark, will have dislocation. Spiritually, it won't appear to other people. And then many times, you make so much money, then all of a sudden you lose it. It's not witches and wizards. It's not witches and wizards. Pay back your debt. Okay, so that would be my move number 1. My move number 2 is to build, that is, if I'm starting over at 35, if I'm 35 years again, and I'm starting over, my move number 2 would be to build my financial shock absorbers. I wish I built financial shock absorbers in my 30s. I wish I knew what was coming ahead in my 40s and 50s. It was financial tsunami. And when it came, I did not have shock absorbers. When I quit my job with Shell, I was 43 at the time. I was supposed to be okay. But I took all the savings and then the things that, emoluments also that Shell paid me, and I put it in one, get rich quick thing, which I didn't know at the time. I lost all that money. And I had no financial shock absorbers. I started struggling with paying school fees, and then my children were sent out of the class because I couldn't pay their fees. I couldn't pay rent. And then I ended up squatting my family. I ended up squatting my family with a friend in the city. I had no financial shock absorbers. I had no financial shock absorbers in my 40s because I didn't build it in my 30s. Therefore, if I'm making 5 money moves, my move number 2 is to build financial shock absorbers in your 30s. In your 30s. I can't scream it enough. Build financial shock absorbers. Because that is the time, you have to ask yourself, like, many times you find yourself awake at 2 a.m. with anxiety. What if anxiety hits you, especially if you're married by this time and then you have children, you're a mother or you're a father and you have children, and then God forbid, maybe your parents need medical attention, and see all the what ifs. Okay, what if I lose my job? What if my car breaks down? What if I have medical emergency? So the fear keeps you trapped, unable to take smart risks. So move number 2 is about installing financial shock absorbers. So I call this your peace policy. Peace policy. Okay, so somebody is asking in the comment section, how do we build these shock absorbers? And that's exactly what I'm about to tell you. So it is your emergency fund. It's not a passive savings account. It's an active policy. You take out against your anxiety. When you meet insurance companies, you take out a policy. You take out a policy. It could be life insurance. You could also be taking a policy to insure your property and things like that. So, but this one, I call it peace policy. Okay, so now what you want to do is, your first goal is to accumulate. If you're in the United States, you can say like $1,000. But if you are in other parts of the world, I could say that you start with accumulating. Start with 1 month of your expenses. Okay, so your emergency fund is typically something you set up that if you imagine that your family lives on $500 every single month, You want to set up an emergency fund that would last for at least 6 months. In Africa, I tell people set up emergency funds for 1 year or 2 years, because the economy can be actually very, very unpredictable here. It's not as predictable because in the United States or in Europe, for instance, if you have an emergency fund of even 2 or 3 months, the 3 months is enough for you to get another job or to find something to do. But do you know there are people who lost their jobs, people in parts of Africa, in Joburg, in Accra, in Lagos, in Abuja, in different parts of Africa, who lost their banking jobs or some other jobs in the year 2020. This is 2025. They still haven't gotten another job. So your financial shock absorber is your emergency fund. So whatever it is that your family, your full 1 month's essential expenses, you save that for an equivalent of 6 months. It's important so that should anything go wrong, you are not immediately taken out, because you have a peace policy that can last you for 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses before anything happens. Okay, so you can put it in a boring high yield savings account, where there is liquidity, where you have access to it. Like if something happens, that kind of emergency happens in the middle of the night, you can get that. So you are not putting your emergency fund in your checking account. That's what Nigerians call current account. You're not putting it in the stock market, because if it's in the stock market is not liquid like that same day. If you sell your stocks today, you are not going to be paid until on the 3rd day. Okay, so we run this T plus 3, the transaction day, the date you sell, plus 3 more days. But I think in November, this month, they want to reduce it to 2 days. I think in some advanced parts of the world, it's T plus 1. So you're not going to be able to access it if that money is in the stock market. So you want to put it in a very boring high yield savings account. So because there it is safe and then it is accessible. This money has only one job. That's why I call it the peace policy. This money has only one job. How many jobs? One job. And what is that one job? To help you sleep. And it's important for all of us, even if you are not in your 30s, if you're in your 40s and 50s listening to me, it's important that you have your peace, take out your peace policy. You need to have an emergency fund, something that can allow you sleep. Because if you're staying awake at 2 a.m. wondering, oh, what if this happens? What if this baby is born, your wife is expecting, what if this baby comes next week? How are we even going to get to the hospital? How am I going to do baby food and things like that? So you need the financial shock absorber. Okay, so this fund is what gives you the power to say no to a bad job offer and yes to a good opportunity. You see, while you're waiting for another job, you have choice. But if you're desperate, you just lost your job now and your family must feed that same day, anything that comes, you take it. And then it's opportunity cost. Once you take a bad job, it blocks the opportunity to get a better one. Move number 3. If I was starting over at 35, move number 3, I would build one daily income stream. Because in my 50s, I've come to discover that the most powerful thing I could do for my finances is the everyday money thing. Okay? At 35, the pressure to blow can make you scatter your energy everywhere. Too many people want to build 10 income streams before mastering one. Okay, so but if I were 35, I would do the opposite. I will build one simple, reliable daily income stream. Something that pays small money every day every week or every month, something that can grow quietly, something that can scale much later. So your first goal is not to get rich. Your first goal is to have oxygen. Daily income is oxygen. So without it, every bill feels like a personal attack. Every bill feels like a personal attack. You know, imagine the sort of freedom you have when you drive out and you can buy things. You can buy things. You drive out and then your wife says, "Oh, I feel like having grilled fish from that particular restaurant. They usually open at 6 and all that and all that. So, sweetheart, when you are coming back, could you get me some grilled fish?" Hey, imagine you're in that situation where it's not it's not a big deal. You say, okay, do you want 1 or 2 portions? Because something is coming, and you know that the next day something else will come. So it's very important. And then this daily income opportunity, in fact, I'm running a workshop on the 24th of November on everyday money workshop. Everyday money, how you can earn money every day. I'll put the details in the description so you could join. Also, the Financial Fitness Challenge, one of the modules is also teaching you how to make money every day. Because for many of us, we only get 12 credit alerts. 12 credit alerts in 1 year. That is 12 out of 365 days. You only earn money 12 times. That's terrible. But you spend money every day. So every day your debit alerts, are like you are getting 6, 7, 10 debit alerts, as you're paying. You're bleeding every day. And then only 1 day in the month you earn money. That's terrible. So your daily income stream could be a digital product. It could be a part-time consulting offer. It could be a monetized skill. It could be a small online service. It could be a tiny hustle that you can automate. It can be a daily commission business. The opportunities are incredible. And right now, the internet, technology just makes this thing so easy. It could be a recurring subscription product or a micro business built around your expertise. I see a lot of young people who are bringing in things from China. They order things from Temu, and they have ads, paid ads rolling on Facebook, rolling everywhere, and they're selling all these solar cameras. They're selling all kinds of gadgets, selling mops, and they make money every day. Okay, so you can do that. So when one daily income stream stabilizes, you get peace, and from peace you get creativity. Because the truth is, when you actually financially peaceful, you have financial quiet around you, you can get very creative. And then money is about creativity. So from creativity, you can get more money. Okay, so because the wealthy people don't chase money, they build systems that bring money home. Okay, what is my move number 4? My move number 4, if I was starting over at 35, is to become an investor immediately. When I started working in my 30s, I had no idea what investing was. I had no idea what investing was. I got my job, my first job in Shell, in my early 30s. I was earning all that salary. I didn't know what the stock market was. I didn't know what real estate was. So the salary was just coming in and going out. So at 35, if I'm starting over, I won't repeat that stupid mistake. Believe me. So today I look at the price of real estate in Port Harcourt, where we lived when I was working with Shell. It's insane. And I remember at that time, in the 80s and 90s, there were plots of land you could literally get for pittance. And I had the money. As a Shell staff, I had the money to buy land, but I didn't have any investment. I didn't know. I wasn't financially literate. I didn't know about it. And so if I had bought, even if it's 20 plots, 30 plots, 50 plots of land at that time, the land today in some of those places are selling for 80 million, 100 million, 50 million naira per plot. So imagine, how worthy I would have been. Okay? So at 35, you must understand something. That wealth is not earned, wealth is grown. Somebody should type that. That should be an aha moment for somebody. You can earn salary, but you can't earn wealth. Wealth can only be grown. It's not earned. If you try to earn your way to wealth, you will walk yourself into an early grave. Period. So investing, even small, begin now. Investing must begin now. Investing is not gambling. Investing, it's not forex madness. That's not what I'm talking about. It's not chasing a hot coin on crypto because someone on Instagram said so. That's not what investing is. Okay, it's a simple lifelong habit. You buy assets, very good assets that have value, and you keep buying and you don't stop and let time do the heavy lifting. That's what investing is. So if I was starting at 35 today, I'll build an investment routine. That is the important. I'll build an investment routine. Okay? So buy a small piece of stock. There's so many good stocks in the US stock market, in the Nigerian stock market, in different, very excellent stocks. I could also buy a little crypto. And not just meme coins or NFTs, but cryptos that have real utility. Okay, so I could do that. I could buy a money market or mutual fund. I could buy real estate investment trust. There are all kinds of things. Low risk growth assets, tiny pieces, buying it consistently. If you do that, if you do this in your 30s and you do it for 10 years, you will retire. You will retire at 45 with more money than you can spend. So that's why I will do this. That's why it's going to be one of my most powerful money moves, one of my 5 main money moves if I was starting over at 35. So this is how money begins to work for you. This is how compound interest, becomes your paycheck. Even if you start with tiny amounts, the habit will change you and the consistency will reward you. Okay, so at 35, your future 50-year-old self will lift you up in gratitude. Move number 5. This is move number 5 I will make if I was starting over at 35. I will design my 40s and 50s on paper today. I will design it today. These things do not happen at random, and they do not happen by prayer and fasting. I know that we Africans, we pray and fast a lot. You got to have a plan that God can bless, that can give you direction, that can give you discipline. Because if you live your 30s without discipline, without financial discipline, oh my goodness. If you go through your 30s without financial discipline and without a plan, before you recover, I'm telling you, real life experience I'm saying, because I found people who didn't make these moves in their 30s. They are in their 60s today. I am working with them. Many of the people I'm working with are in their 60s. Some of them are in their 70s. They have no clue. And some never recover from the missteps of their 30s. And that's why they say, the English people say, a fool at 40 is a fool for how long? Forever. So you don't want to play with your 30s and then play into your 40s, that way. So I would plan my 40s and 50s on paper today, not tomorrow. I'll plan it. So this is the part that nobody teaches. Yeah, this is the secret that separates those who thrive in their 40s and 50s from those who drown. Okay? Your 40s are not meant for guesswork. A lot of people are guessing in their 40s. You're still guessing financially. You are guessing spiritually. You are guessing in relationship. You know, and some guys want to marry. I know people like that. They want to marry. You're 45. Up till now, you still haven't found someone to marry, but you want to marry. Your 40s are not for guessing. Your 40s are for reward. So, but you only get the reward if you design it intentionally now. Okay, so if I were 35, this is what I'm going to do. I will sit down and write what income level I want by 40. You need to set these things and write them. It's really very powerful. And the mind is a goal-seeking machine. When you set a goal, your mind goes the length to do everything possible to make it happen for you. Okay? So, what income level do you want by the time you are 40 and by the time you are 50? What net worth do you want at 45? You've got to think about it and put it down on paper. Okay? What investments must support me by 55? It's not when you are 55 that you'll be looking for support or looking for the investment that will support you. Ask my generation, ask people like me who are 60, 58. It's tough to start making this plan at 58. It's possible, but it's harder than if you do it now in your 30s. Okay? What lifestyle do I want at 50? Write these things down. Write these, I have journals where I dream, like up to now, I dream, and then if you've missed it in your 30s, it's still okay. Okay, so if you're in your 50s, almost 60 like me, it's still okay. Still do the same exercise. It doesn't matter. Anytime you wake up is your morning. That's the beautiful thing about this. It doesn't matter if you missed it in your 30s, if you're in your 40s and 50s, still do the same thing I'm telling you. Because the next 5 years, the next 10 years will still thank you. Okay, so ask yourself, what do I want my children to inherit? It's not that you need to talk about it. What do I want them to inherit? King Solomon said that a good man or a good woman leaves inheritance for their children's children. What do you want them to inherit? What do I want my future self to be known for? So look at what I'm doing now. It's on my vision board. I didn't just wake up and start. I started dreaming of what I'm doing now right from the 1980s. Where I wanted to reach people in the world, and then my dream is every month to reach at least 3 billion people on the planet. So I'm just starting. Okay, so but you have to dream these things and write it down. So but today, the dreams I wrote 20, 25, 30 years ago, they are happening almost automatically. Why? Because I wrote them down. Because I said I wanted to be able to help Africans, Caribbeans, and then Pacific countries. And then if you take a census of the people who are here, who are listening to me, who are watching this video, you will see people from the Caribbean countries. You will see people from different countries in Africa. You see people from the Pacific countries. So these things are not magic. You plan them. You visualize them. Then you pray about them. It's now that you need to do it in your 30s, okay? What financial stress must I refuse to carry into the next decade? Write it down. What addictions, habits, and mindsets must end now? Many of you in your 30s in this generation, you use drugs. Normal people. I was shocked to discover this. Normal people who work in the bank, who work in offices. Normal people. And you're using drugs. And then sometimes you get yourself drunk. These habits in your 30s. In your 30s. And then, you are, like, I'm mentioning it because it's gone public. The co-founder of what do they call them? Paystack. Young man at 39. At 39. He's made so much money, maybe $50 million, $60 million in net worth and things like that. But look at the kind of scandal. And he's only 39. What kind of future is this guy building for himself? So at the end of it, when you make plans like this, you will discover the wisdom to understand that this planning is not just about money. You don't need money to plan. The kind of life and the kind of lifestyle and legacy, the kind of contribution that you will make. Because this guy did not sit down to ask himself those big questions in life. Look at the way he's living. Look at the way he's living. You know, with women, giving women $100,000 to sleep with them. That's not life. If that's success, I don't want that. But you've got to sit down and ask yourself these things, okay? What partnerships and communities must I belong to? What systems must I automate to live free? So people don't just rise into greatness. They plan their way into it. Okay, someone is asking for a recap of move number 5. So move number 5 is I will design my 40s and 50s on paper today. And I've just given you a checklist of questions you should ask yourself. It's not just about money. You've got to ask yourself, these big questions. Because by the time you are 50, these are the things that will come and haunt you if you don't plan them today. Okay, let me give you one bonus move. Okay, so this should be 5 plus 1. There's one bonus move. I just remember. In fact, this bonus move is like the container for all the other bonus moves, for all the other 5 moves. What is that? The final move. Let me put it away. Where do you put money to get the highest, most guaranteed return? I know if I ask some of you will say, okay, stock market, mutual funds, index funds, crypto. But where do you put your money to get the highest, most guaranteed return, permanent return? Which asset will give you the best return? Michael is such an incredible guy. Michael is a genius. He's answered it. He's answered in the comment section. Yeah. Jesse says real estate. No, not real estate. The most important asset to invest in is you. Okay? So wherever you are, just put your hand over your chest, your heart, and say me. Say, I am the most important asset I can invest in. Make that confession. Let your heart hear it. Put your hand over your heart and say, I am the most important investment I can make. Okay? You are the most important investment. So your income is the engine of your entire financial life. In your 20s, you were learning. In your 30s, you must become the CEO of You Incorporated. What does this mean? Like somebody already said in the comment section, personal growth. You see, at some point in your life, you can never earn more than you learn. At some point in your life, you will find this particular spiritual equation that your earning is directly proportional to your learning. And so the more you learn, the more you earn. Somebody was asking questions about these books here. I read them. I don't have television in my house. I don't have television. The closest thing to television that I have is YouTube and TikTok. And then what have I done to my TikTok and YouTube? YouTube, I have subscribed to. In fact, my YouTube is like university. I spend insane amounts of time on YouTube. So YouTube is like my university. And then I've curated it and then subscribed specifically to things that I want to. You're not going to see politics on my stream, on my social stream. I'm doing the same thing on Facebook. Facebook has come up with something really, I like it, really nice. It allows you to literally curate your stream. It allows you to train the algorithm to send you only what you want to hear. And so I've curated it in such a way that only the things that build my mind come on my feed. You see all those stupid skits? All those stupid skits? And then all these drama queens and all these people who come and post, you won't see them on my feed. Because over the past couple of years, and then recently, Facebook allows you, I don't know if anybody has noticed it, when you are scrolling, you see something, a content that you don't like, you just click, cancel it or click to hide it, and Facebook will ask you why you don't like it. They will ask you why. Why do you want to hide this? Why don't you want this in your feed? They will say, this is sexual. They will say, I don't like this creator. Or they say, this does not match my interest. You can use this tool because we can't really, I can't tell anybody to avoid social media. I can avoid TV. I don't ever think. I've never bought, well, I bought TV. The only time I bought TV in my life was 1999. And it was not this flat screen, because in those days, the flat screen thing didn't exist, or maybe it was coming out in really some ultra rich people's home. But it was all this one that has tube. That's the one, the first and the last time I bought a television, 1999. I don't know what that TV, I don't know what it is now, because we don't use it. And I raised my children without television. I raised them with books. So I arranged their room in such a way that as they were going to their bedroom, I had the library facing their room. The last thing they see as they enter their bedroom is books. When they wake up, the first thing they see is books. Not only that, I used to reward them during the holiday. I used to reward them. I will buy books. You know, when I travel to the United States, I'll buy books. I'll buy biographies. In fact, I'm looking at one. There's a series. I don't know if you want me to show you, because it's practical. I bought this when they were very, very young. These are the kind of books I will buy and I will give them. This is one series. So I will tell them to read it, and then each time they finish one book, I pay them. And do you know how I pay them? Lots of money. I bought stocks for them. I bought stocks for these children, and they were in primary school. And then what did this do? It made them read. Today, these guys are readers. They pick a fat book like this. My son will pick a fat book like this in a flight. And then by the time he's arrived, he's finished 2 books. So why did I say this? You need to invest in yourself. Read. And stop scrolling through. You see, at 35, you don't need all this. You don't need all this entertainment and all these stupid comedies. You know, I'm sitting at the airport, and then everybody is on social media, and then you can hear all these laughter memes. You know, all those, you'll be hearing it from different places. People are watching comedy skits. Useless. And I don't even know how people find those things funny. Where are all of them? This one says, I don't want peace. I want trouble always. And you know all those, you'll be hearing it everywhere. Everybody's watching skits. Don't destroy yourself. Don't do that to yourself in your 30s. Invest in you. Invest in coaching. Invest in personal development. Attend workshops. Register for online seminars. Things that can build you. Because wealth is not what you have. Wealth is who you are. And then, like the old Jim Rohn would say, you should make $1 million. You should aim to make $1 million, not because of the $1 million, but because of what you become in the process of making $1 million. Because it's character shaping, you know, making that. So some other things you can do is skill stacking. That is in building yourself. Skill stacking. So identify 1 or 2 high value skills. high value skills, you know, copywriting, communication, selling skills, leadership skills, networking, all those. Find one skill, all right? Identify those skills that you can develop. Public speaking, data analysis, coding, project management. Spend money on a course, on a certification, on a conference, okay? Number 2, network building. Network. Oh my goodness. By the time you get to my age, you will discover that relationships are more important than money. By the time you get to my age, if you really build your network of people well, you can make it. You might not have $1 million, but you can make one phone call, 2 phone calls, 10 phone calls, and you will get $1 million. It happened to me. So build your network, build real friends. These things you call friends on Facebook, that's not friends. Build real friends, solid, face to face. Build real friends, real communities, okay? And allocate time to do that. Then, most important, take care of your health. A sick person has only one prayer point. So take care of your health. It's a financial move. Your health is a financial move. So some of you see me every morning, I'm jogging, I'm doing all this exercise, you know. It's a financial move. Because one sickness, one hospital admission can set you back by 10 years financially. By the time there's a kidney problem will set you back financially by 30 years. Did you know that? Is this making sense to you? So take care of your health. Be very deliberate about what you put in your mouth. It's not everything that you put in your mouth that is food. It's not everything that should go in your mouth. Be careful what you put in your mouth. Read labels in the grocery store. When you pick up a processed something, I don't even know why anybody should eat processed food. Read labels. Know what you're putting into your system. Keep your environment clean. Your room, your space. Let it be ventilated. Where you sleep, keep it clean. Let it be ventilated. Simple. I don't know whether they still they taught us these things in primary school. I don't know whether they still do that. I think they had a subject they called is it personal hygiene or something like that? I don't remember what we called it in the 1970s when I was in primary school. But they taught us all these basic things, basic hygiene, basic, personal hygiene. Keep yourself healthy. Move your body. Exercise. Get plenty sunshine, as much as possible, and then network with the community. Okay, so let me recap the 5 moves that I would make if I were starting at 35. I have prepared this for you based on the horrible errors I made in my past. I remember when I was 35, horrible errors. And I wished, can you imagine if somebody told me what I just told you tonight when I was 35? Oh, can you imagine where I would be? So move number 1, declare war on your debt, okay, so that you can create your freedom fund. Because today's debt is a tax on your future. Imagine you taxing your 50-year-old self, taxing your 70-year-old self like 20 years, 30 years ahead of time. Move number 2, I will build my financial shock absorber. And I call this taking out the peace policy. All right. And then this means creating an emergency fund that allows me, gives me space to recover should anything unexpected happens, like it does happen. My move number 3, I would build one daily income stream and establish it, just making sure that income comes in every day or at least every week. And I give you examples of such incomes: digital products, part-time consulting, online service, and many things like that. My move number 4, I would become an investor immediately. I will start small and then let compounding do its work. Because by the time I'm in my mid-40s or I'm 50, I want to be paid by compound interest. I don't want to be paid by an employer. I want to be paid by compound interest. My move number 5 would be to design my 40s and my 50s on paper today. And I've given you a guide on how you design it. And build your vision board. Don't wait until you are 50 before you start planning. Don't wait until you are 60 like me before you start planning. Design it on paper today. You can go through this live session again, this video again, to get the guide that I just gave you on how you can do that. And I gave you a bonus move. And this bonus move is to invest in the most important asset that you have. And what is that most important asset? It is you. So develop high income skills, network incredibly, build relationships. Because at 50 and at 60, your relationship, the relationship that you build, will be a bigger bank than whatever money you're trying to create today. Spend time networking and building real tangible relationship. Not all this social media nonsense and these things they call friends on social media. That's not friendship. Build real life friends. My greatest blessing, I'm almost 60, and my greatest blessing is not money. My greatest blessing is people. There's hardly any part of the world I step into now, and I will not have anybody, and I won't have people struggling to pay my bills. If I step into America today, and I announce that I'm in Texas, I have at least a dozen people who will say, "We're coming to pick you up for dinner." It happens. It happens to me anywhere I go. A couple of years when there was a very difficult time in the country of insecurity, robberies, and all kinds of things, a friend that I made in the US, how did we become friends? In a restaurant. I was attending an event in Redlands in California at the time. And then we were using the same hotel. And then this woman and her friends, and her daughter were at the table opposite. So, and I was in my table, the only black person there. And so I was, just on my table. And then I bent over to say blessing over my meal. She noticed. And then she came and said, "Oh, I saw you blessing your meal and things like that. Are you this?" That's how we've become friends. This was like since 2000 and this was around 2003. About 2003. Since that time to today, that woman and I even communicated yesterday. We've been friends. So when things were very difficult in the country, she said, she sent a message, do you want me to file for American immigration for you to become an American citizen? That was way back at that time. I said no, that is not in God's plan, for me to move my family to live in the United States. But I'm just telling you what relationship can. You see what many people are killing themselves to find to become American citizen. An American woman, a white American woman, wanted to do it for me and my family, to move us over there. Relationship can do for you what money can't. Now that you're in your 20s and your 30s, build solid relationships. Build physical friends, not this online thing. Online thing, there's no online whatever. Build good relationships. Then by the time you're 50 or by the time you're 60 and 70, oh my goodness, you're going to be a very happy person. Okay? And then, of course, I told you to take care of your health, because your health is a financial move. Taking care of your health is a big financial move. So if you make these 5+1 moves deliberately, consistently, without panic, your 30s will become your pivot, your 40s will become your acceleration, your 50s will become your abundance, and your 60s will be your legacy. So remember, the pain that you feel today is not punishment. It is a summons to rise. Okay? So if I were 35 today, I wouldn't try to be impressive. I wouldn't try to be impressive. Many of you are trying to impress people on social media. Impress people by the kind of car you ride. I wouldn't try to be impressive. I'm not even impressive. I don't impress anybody. I walk into the market, the same place. Everybody buys things, and I buy things. You know, I take keke, I take bike, I take tricycles to go to places. I mean, I'm not trying to impress you. You know, and I don't buy anything to impress you. A couple of years ago, somebody saw my phone, said, oh boy, this phone is beneath you. Beneath you. You need to own such and such phone. Who are you? And it's not that he was giving me the money. If he was giving me them, that's a different thing. Because if you give me iPhone 17, I would take. But you're here dictating the sort of thing. He said, this doesn't fit your status. Who told you? And that's why I said, define what success means to you. You know, I've been shouting that. I'm probably the only person that's been saying that. I've been saying it for years. Define what success means to you. Because if you leave others to define it for you, they will kill you. You can't meet the expectations of other people. So define what success means to you. Who told you that a phone I'm using does not fit my status? What is my status? Who gave me that status? And then who wrote that rule that for your status, this is the kind of phone you should have, this is the kind of car that you should be driving? So ladies and gentlemen, stop trying to impress people, and also stop trying to be like other people. Just be you. And you're going to be good. Whatever happens, keep showing up, because you have no idea what's coming your way next. And I will see you exactly the same time tomorrow, 8 p.m. GMT +1. Tomorrow, we have another very exciting, interesting live section. And then, if you have found value in this, subscribe to this channel. Subscribe right now. It doesn't cost you anything. And also share it. I would appreciate that. Subscribe. If you found value and you thought that this actually helped you, then I would appreciate if you share it with other people so that you can also help them. And then together we can make money, because there's enough, more than enough for every living person on this earth. There's more than enough. And together we can make that money together and then fulfill the purpose for which God made us. So wherever you're joining from, you have a good evening, and I will see you same time tomorrow. I love you. God bless you. Good night.